So I've watched this one worded title. Not sure why they have one word in a title because it's so ambiguous usually. But anyway, um, was called Safe from 2012. And sure enough, like most other so-called, action thrillers. It is what it is. I know that there is indeed lots of violence, although as it happens, there is more of a script than Olympus Has Fallen. Who knew? I mean, it'd be very difficult. I'm pretty sure to find a movie worse than that pile of trash, and that besmirched the mountain of the gods with, very difficult. I mean, it still had loads of violence, but at least it had some story about the mental calculator and her protection and some sub stories, I guess. I don't know. It's not the most complex thing ever either, and the reason everything happens is flimsy. As usual, it's money, but for the amount of people that die, it's not so much the amount of money, but ironically, by the way, it's the same amount that cost to make the movie itself. So, presumably, they're saying the movie itself is worth all of those people dying. So obviously would be a bit absurd and a bit dubious. But anyway, it was what it was. I mean, at this rate, it's not as complex as the take that I recently watched, but they're about as well. I mean, it also features as police corruption as many such movies do. But it's is what it is. It is still it's just a vehicle for violence, really, and at least the supposed protagonist though has some vulnerabilities. It's shown. I mean, as opposed to many of these that they're often depicted as pretty much robots. I mean, I don't know what that guy played by Gerald Butler was, except a robot, right? Who somehow never ever fails and only happens to be punched just at the end, but somehow obviously recovers. There's no way he's going to be. So, yeah, this, I mean, yeah, the character played by Stanton isn't exactly. I mean, he's still quite invulnerable when he gets going. But there's a moment when seemingly he's about to commit suicide in front of a train. I mean, sure, it's made for dramatic purposes. That's when he first sees the girl, etc. But I mean, that doesn't normally often happen in such movies. It's not of. I mean, I've never seen another so-called action movie generally that has the protagonist nearly committing suicide. So I suppose it's something, and it makes it slightly more believable when he says that the girl sort of saved his life somehow by giving him a purpose and such. Only slightly. I mean, it's still, but it makes a bit of sense, in terms of also considering they haven't actually said it explicitly in the movie. But apparently, his murdered wife was pregnant. I've read. I'm not sure if that is real or not, because it wasn't explicitly said in the movie. That would make even more sense, I suppose, if it was in terms of what happened in the entire movie. Yeah. Um, I noticed that the director that made this is quite directs quite a variety of genres for some reason. Apparently, he had only just written, scripted, yeah, these kind of movies before, not directed them. But in terms of as a director, uh, I noticed that nearly every single movie he directed was from a different genre, so quite interesting. So I suppose he just wants to do loads of different things. Otherwise, so I haven't actually heard of him before, but not so much. I mean, I've heard of some of the movies of him, just not exactly. Well, I did watch associated with him, although only as a writer apparently, not director or producer, is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I think I've watched it in the cinema. Interesting movie, of course. I'm not sure exactly how it relates, so then that's the thing. It seems like he really does want to do loads of different genres. I mean, in this case, it's more of a, I suppose, fantasy and such. Also, there's still, I suppose, some, well, so-called action, but with swords in Prince of Persia, as the games are about it as well. So just um, the original Prince of Persia is so much more difficult than the PlayStation 2 ones. I swear, uh, tried playing it and I couldn't really um, advance much. But yeah, in terms of this movie, it went a bit bizarre at the end there when he went after the mayor, specifically, and then like the mayor said, uh, somehow, they seem to have lack security and such. So I don't know, it's a bit strange, and but I suppose as an idea, it's what the movie did with the whole plot, fending off three separate entities is sort of interesting, but maybe a bit too much on the plate. You see, um, a bit, yeah. And as other reviewers said, it's riddled with cliches. In the script itself. Um, some of them, very sort of bad. Kind of like, oh, I hope they repair the trachea. I think it was a bit, yeah. Um, and also, I'm not entirely sure why he puked in the train compartment there. At one point, he just did for some reason, bizarrely, a bit off camera, but he did, and then he returned to, supposedly save the. Yeah, it's well, like any action movie. I mean, it has its ups and downs. It's not quite. Maybe they could have it would have been improved if they just concentrated more on the girl, which provided more of a heart for the movie, but they didn't quite do that much. I mean, it still made profit apparently, not quite as much as Olympus Has Fallen. Of course, the worst always does more. As I said, the ultimate formula in profit making would be just a gun constantly shooting an entire 3 hour film or something like that. Wouldn't reckon so much because apparently that's all people want, right? They don't want. In fact, I'm assuming if they had more interactions with the girl, I suppose it would have earned even less. I mean, otherwise, this is the point. It was still very violent. So I'm not saying this wasn't. I mean, so was the take. It was pretty violent, but at least it had a story, a convoluted story. But it did. This had a story as well, but less so. Didn't have many twists or such, but at least it had more of a story than the other one. Obviously, it's always going to be the case. I think with any action movie from now on. But otherwise, it was sort of interesting. The story was sort of interesting, but not too much either. Statham's story was interesting as well, but not too much at the same time. So yeah,